go. Okay, go back to the daily word. Okay, who would like to read the daily word for us?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Possibilities. I open my mind to limitless possibilities. There are limits to what my mind can imagine. I may find a challenge too big to overcome or too complex to work through. In the past, I might have avoided such challenges, but today I turn within for guidance. Within my inner sanctuary, I find infinite possibilities. For God, nothing is or ever could be impossible. As a spiritual being, I open my mind to these possibilities. So these possibilities can enter my imagination. With spiritual sight, I begin to apprehend what is possible. I emerge from my prayer time filled with inspiration and clarity, ready to take the steps necessary to make my vision a reality. I return again and again to the limitless field of infinite potential where I can claim divine ideas and know the presence and power of God is in and through all things. For nothing will be impossible with God. From Luke 1:37.
Thanks, Lillian. I open my mind to limitless possibilities. Let's say that together. I
I
open my
open my
mind
mind
to
to
limitless
limitless
possibilities.
possibilities.
I think this word, as is often the case, is got some resonance with the lesson that we've been working on, and so eventually it's going to show up here. We've been reading. We started last time on the 15th of June, this lesson on the body of Christ, and the question that began this lesson was, what is the Church of Christ? What do we mean by universal church and particular or individual church? And we went through the first 9 paragraphs together, and we left off, actually, we went for the first 10 paragraphs together. We left off at paragraph 11, and I thought it would be useful to let's reread number 10, and then we'll go from there and continue through as far as we can get today in the lesson. And who would be willing to read number 10 for us?
I can read it.
Okay, thank you, Sandy.
Let's see, number 10. God is divine mind. The activity of divine mind as absolute good created the Christ. In the last analysis, all the universe is consciousness. The supreme consciousness, which knows only oneness and perfection, is divine consciousness, a body of active spiritual ideas. This consciousness of oneness and absolute good, when held by man, is called Christ consciousness. The total of this Christ consciousness in humanity has been called the Church of Christ, the Church Universal, the body of Christ, the Lord's body. It is not at all an organization in the outer realm, but is an organization of life, of love, of power, of wisdom, etc., and of divine ideas. In man, it is called Christ. In the particular church, or the individual church, is the Christ consciousness in the individual. The one purpose or aim that unifies this church or body, both individually and universally, is that of making God manifest, bringing forth into actuality the oneness and the perfection which have been an ideal, knowing the elements or ideas of which this body is composed, and the life and the light that are weaving it closely together, we can have no doubt of its durability, its staying power.
Thanks, Sandy.
Mhm.
And let's go read the next paragraph and then we'll open up for comments. Who would read number 11?
I will.
Thanks, Stella.
Paul, in writing to the Colossians, speaks of the body as the church, thus regarding the body of Christ and the church as the same. To avoid confusion, it is necessary to take the word church in its true meaning, freeing the mind from concepts that have gathered about the term through the centuries of ignorance and misunderstanding that have blinded men and prevented them from discerning the Lord's body.
Thanks, Stella. So, thoughts, reflections on what we just read?
I can give it a try.
Go ahead, Leo.
For me, it means that all my personalities need to be united into my individuality. And by doing that, I grow more into a Christ being. And I believe that part of this bodily existence is meant to make us aware of our possibilities. And it is done in a very clever way by the way of the duality. So if we can unite these dualities within ourselves, we can be more unique or authentic. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. So that raises a question for me, which is how do we unite those dualities?
Get behind me, Peter. That's for me what is really sprung to my imagination.
Sure.
Every controversy that arises within me, I move it behind me. I say, this is no longer in control. There is a higher entity that is in control, but you are still with me. I do not denounce you. You are with me.
I call that befriending my enemies.
Yes.
It's also, as I listen to what you just said, it's another statement of the golden key, and where we put our consciousness on God and not on the condition.
Oh, that's a new one.
Well, because the source of that injunction, get thee behind me, to me, that's God. That's the divine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where would that come from?
Well, it's amazing, really. There is a voice in me, and it has always been with me. And I thought it was just a universal voice, but it is actually a guiding one. And I just amazed about it. Humble.
Is that
Really.
the voice of the Christ?
It doesn't identify itself, but it is really a true friend.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, let's move forward then. The next section is under the question, what is a sect? Who would read paragraph number 12? Leo, go ahead.
What is a sect and what causes the forming of sects? A sect is a group of people, usually with a leader, who has separated themselves for some religious denomination because of differences of opinion, either in beliefs or in forms and ceremonies. Often those forming the sect feel that the letter of the scriptures is being followed by the denomination from which they have withdrawn, and that they alone have the true quote, quote, spirit. On the other hand, the religious denomination from which the sect has drawn away feels that the defaulting group is in error. Other sects draw away from the established denominations only because they are expanding in thought and find themselves bound by the old theologies. Viewed from a more impersonal vantage point, sects must be seen as a part of the expanding consciousness of those who cannot find their religious freedom within the framework of the existing religious organization.
Thanks, Leo.
And I have a comment.
Yes, please.
That's okay. I find it not general enough. I find it so specific to religion, while sect means a sector. It means a part of. And if I belong to this group, there are moments that I do not belong to this group because I make a new way. I'm taking a new path. I'm taking a new direction. I consciously go away from the central theme and I venture into something new. So at that time, I would be something like a sect. You see, a sect of one. Any comments, please? I like to hear how other people think about this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Leo. Any other sects of one among us? Lillian, were you gonna
No,
say something?
I'm just trying to get into it.
Okay.
I think for me, a part of thinking about this was shifting. I like the word that Leo used, the venture. And I had to venture from shifting out of my childhood raising Methodist into learning and taking on questioning myself about that sector, this sector. And I figure I'm still there. I'm still learning, which is a good thing. But at times I thought, gosh, this feels like a real sect, and it helped me to decide on what I didn't believe in, and then adventure into more about my personal beliefs and not thinking of a sect. So yeah, it's the exploration. There's a lot there.
For sure. Thank you. Diane?
Yeah, I have a question, Marty. What is the difference between a sect and a cult? Other than that, I think the connotation of a cult is more sinister than a sect. Being in a cult suggests pulling away from something to form your own thing. But it seems to have a connotation. But what would your wisdom be on that? Sect or cult? Are they interchangeable?
Leo?
Well, for me, cult is short for culture. So if I have an idea and I expand on that, that is already culture. If there are people that are coming with me, they may find it easier to distance themselves from what is common. And that can easily go into what people normally call a cult, as being a separate entity. It is most of the time meant in a way that is derogative.
Yeah.
And people associate it with brainwash, not standing for yourself, follow the leader no matter what. Well, I believe we should step away from that idea. My idea.
Thank you.
I would venture to I don't know if I'm disagreeing with you, Leo, but I would venture to say that the sect, as it's described here, is derives from dissatisfaction with the state of things in a given organization. And he talks about here that people who form a sect think that they have the true spirit of the foundational ideas of the organization. I think many of us have belonged to organizations that we could, without a whole lot of sweat, recognize no longer conform to the original founding ideas. But the cult, so that people form sects because their inquisitiveness is no longer supported in the framework of the old organization. Cults may form for the same reason, but my experience of the cult is that people give up the inquisitiveness to the leader and just do what the leader says. And it's a form of safety. People are always seeking to feel safe, but I do think there is a difference.
I have heard unity described from time to time as a cult, and I definitely disagree with that. It is sort of in addition to the religion you espouse, you can use unity principles to cause further enlightenment. But so I don't like that connotation attached to our unity movement.
Well, Diane, and it'd be again, I'm open to what others have to say. You can be in unity and treat it like a cult if you surrender your own inquisitiveness, your own inner Christ authority, and just do what, quote, the crowd, end quote, says to do. On the other hand, unity does not speak with a monolithic voice. And even Charles Fillmore famously reserved the right to change his mind.
Excellent.
I can give an example. One of my older sisters joined the Rosicrucians, and she really behaves like she knows it all. And for me, well, I can only say the more I know that I don't know. So I feel people that claim these absolute truths is more, yeah, for me, it's fear-based. It is just reasoning away any discerning other thoughts. Okay, that's my idea.
Thanks.
So I looked it up because we can, right? And it says the key differences between the two. I don't want to read the whole thing, but this is relationships to establish religions. Cults are often more radical departures from established norms, while sects are typically subgroups within a larger tradition. And then the next level is level of control over members. Cults generally exert much greater control and influence over members than sects do. Potential for harm. Cults are more likely to be associated with harmful practices and behaviors due to their control mechanisms. It's important to note that both the term sect and cults can be used with negative connotations. And then it says Scientologists and sociologists and religious scholars often use the more neutral language when studying these groups to avoid bias.
Thanks, Claudia.
It kind of seems to work.
Diane, is this helpful to your
Yes, I
question?
appreciate both Marty and Claudia's expounding on it a bit. Yeah, it pretty much is the way I thought it was. One was, as I said, a little more sinister than the other, but the unity is certainly not so directive that you can't have your own opinion about this and grow within the group, which I love.
On that,
Right. It doesn't meet that criteria of
Right.
sinister, negative, all controlling,
Yes.
mind based. But you're right, Diane. People have often said that unity is a cult, and I think that that they're being critical and detrimental, to
Yes,
our.
it is a detrimental remark.
Oh, you're muted.
We just lost you guys. I don't know what happened. You guys have the most temperamental microphone on a
I'm sitting
computer.
too far back in the room. Can you hear me now? All right.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah. Okay. I've had the experience of people asking me, they talk about religious beliefs and so forth, and they ask me, well, what is unity? And I've always been puzzled with that, and always trying to say, well, are you familiar with I can't even think of the names now. I'm having a senior moment. But recently, when I discovered Mark and what he was doing, and I suddenly realized my answer now is that I am a metaphysical Christian. And that sort of answers the thing. I haven't had a chance to explain that to anybody because I haven't been asked again. But there were other sort of truth movements that were popular, and if you say, well, it's like this, and then they seem to understand what it's about.
Mhm.
Thanks, Veldin.
When I first got involved with Unity, most of my friends had never heard of Unity. And if I
Right.
mentioned it, they thought it was Unitarian and they were very worrisome about me, oh my
Mhm.
goodness.
Yeah.
Then I'd have to explain, no, it's unity. Do you know that little book called The Daily Word? And some of them did, but they didn't know the difference between unity and Unitarian.
I've had that experience many times myself, Lillian.
I look back on all the different religions I've tried over the years, and they always the parting came when people in the more important people in the church, the group, were telling me what to do. And the minute I was being directed to do something, I felt I was back with the Catholics. And I thought, no, this is what I'm trying to get away from. And when Mark Hicks explained to me that the core piece of unity as it originally started was that there are basic principles and we try to practice them because they're good, and that having a church, a unity church where someone is the leader and someone is telling you what to do is not what it's about, is not what it was intended to be about. I was told it was intended to be an educational experience with learning a lot of stuff and then using it in the best way to use the truth package. And the idea of the open, I kept waiting for the shoe to fall. I've been doing this now for about 6 months. And I kept waiting for someone to say, okay, Janet, well, if you want to join, you've got to do this or pay that, or, there's rules. And so far, I haven't found any rules. And I pretty much stopped thinking about it and thinking that I'm missing something or not doing it right, God forbid. Um, and is that accurate? That really it is a very non-cultish kind of place. I mean, it is a sect because it came out of Christianity, but it's a It's just open-ended. Is open-ended a good word?
Well, do you remember the daily word today?
Yeah.
So one way to say that, which you just asked, is, am I living in a field of infinite possibility? If I'm living in an field of infinite possibility, then the absolute is in the God itself, not in any particular thing.
Yeah, there is always a going forward. There is no end.
Or we can think of the word end, Leo, in its sense as being a goal. And the end is in experiencing the Christ 24/7.
Yeah, but then after the Christ, there will be another thing coming because
Maybe,
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm
maybe.
absolutely sure about that.
Don't start being cultish, Leo.
No, right now, one man sect.
Fair enough. All right, we'll maybe get, as always with the correspondence course, there's more information to come which may shine light on the things that we're discussing. So let's move ahead, if that's okay, and let's pick up on numbers 13, 14, and 15. Who will read number 13?
I will. I can do it. My voice is back.
All right.
What is the basis of real unity and why? 13. All unity is in spirit. This is an important truth worthy of prayerful consideration. The benefits of unity are so generally recognized that men everywhere, in every department of life, business, social, and religious, band themselves together for mutual help. Differences appear between man-made organizations and the unity of spirit, and these differences are manifest in results. A measure of success and benefit often seems to attend the efforts of men of the world to cooperate, even though these efforts are not based on the unity of spirit. But there is always something lacking, and discord is ever likely to spring up until such time as men find the unity of spirit within. Seeing this lack, we look back to the cause and find that it is fear and sometimes selfishness expressed through unenlightened personalities.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you. Thoughts?
Amen to that.
Why?
Mm.
What are you seeing what are you hearing in this?
Well, one of the first things is what I experience in this group, that the differences we have are not excluding, but are including. They are enriching each and every one of us. So that is totally different from discussion groups that you normally enter. That's where a theme or a statement is posed and people go into debates to get the better. What we're doing in this group, this is a group that is working in spirit, and what we aim at, we even don't know because it is so wide. We cannot even name it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Other thoughts?
I think I will add one more.
Okay.
And that is in this paragraph, they say that many times it is caused by fear. So if we are in the outer world and we can see that fear causes people to oppose, we can step back and we can say, it's all right.
So what are we afraid of? in this instance?
Well, if personality is in control, personality doesn't like to be, how to say that? I don't know the right English word for that. It doesn't like to be superseded, let me put it that way. And it's scared of death because the personality has no idea of an eternal life. It thinks in mundane, animal-like ideas.
Okay. Anybody else? What are we afraid of? What is that personality that Leo's talking about afraid of? If this lack, seeing this lack, we look back to the cause and find it is fear, it's interesting that it doesn't tell us what the fear is.
It's interesting, like with Leo's Rosicrucian sister, um, when things can be known, you can hang your hat on it, and life maybe seems easier. So there's lots of things that are not known that we are moving towards, and that continuous state of not knowing is perhaps hard to accept.
Because
Knowing and being sure of something seems easier.
okay. I was thinking that when I'm uncertain, then in that field of uncertainty could be threat.
Mm-hmm.
And in the field of certainty, I feel secure because I don't perceive threat. So what is the threat that we fear in this particular context?
I now would refer to Tim Fletcher, and he would say complex trauma. And he would trace the cause back to childhood traumas that made us believe we had to act a certain way. And that is burned into our EEPROM, in our, what we call the subconscious part. And that subconscious part gets control because the science call it the amygdala hijack. It is life threatening. So that particular, Mark would say that particular script would activate without the real I coming in between. So that script would run without the real me being there.
So the threat is what you said is a threat to life itself. It's a threat of death.
Well, as it is conceived by that part of
of course.
personality.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I think the threat is, and Leo's personality is a good way to say it. I think we could also call it ego, but I think the threat is of being alone and unlovable. So I think that what this is talking about is knowing that we're one with spirit or God or whatever we want to, with the universe. But I think the threat is that we're afraid of being alone. And it's probably wired into our DNA, because back in the day in Neanderthal times, if we were alone, we would not live. I mean, we needed, we needed to be with groups. So I don't know, that when I kind of really try to boil this down to what are we really fearful of? Being unloved and being alone.
Okay. Anybody else?
I've got another view on fear. I think fear is something that comes about with our wisdom of what a situation is about. For instance, uh, if we were, a million years ago and there were dinosaurs chasing around, uh, our wisdom tells us that there's dinosaurs around, and our fear tells us guides us to be careful, and in a way it's helpful to us. So in I think many ways fear is a certain amount of wisdom. The problem is controlling the fear so that fear doesn't get out of hand, or that we're fearful when we don't really need to be. So somewhere in there wisdom comes in, and wisdom is knowing what the situation is and what to do about it.
You reminded me of the Serenity Prayer, Felden.
Yes.
Anybody else?
He's reminding me of the 12 powers.
Okay. Okay.
I can tell you that I lived my life in fear. It's just always been there. And when I started to really understand that the reality of the person I was, the situations I was in, the abilities I had, was just so far removed from whatever was free floating fear of everything. That wasn't enough though. That was like psychology. And it got explained to me, and I sort of understood it. But it was only learning about the Christ consciousness and really accepting that I have within me this power greater than myself that has kept me sober for 31 and 9/10 years, that has seen me through crazy things that, had they happened to me before I had that Christ indwelling thing, I would have gone out and shot myself and just said, I can't deal with this. And I never feel like that anymore. I feel like, oh, this is interesting. This is going to be interesting, Christ consciousness. What are you telling me to do now? And I feel like I travel with a buddy. I travel with an inner guide that has let me stop feeling I am not enough and I am not capable of doing very simple things, really. And I just would get overwhelmed and think, oh, I can't do this. I dropped out of college, a full scholarship to a Ivy League school after 3 months because I couldn't not know what they were trying to teach me in advance because it was too scary. I did great in high school because I kind of was out ahead of the game. But once I wasn't, I said, no, this is a mistake. I shouldn't be here. And I just wish that I was like some of you that have been raised in a unity home with metaphysical parents that are kind of give you a little bit of perspective early on. My perspective came way too late. But I'm here now. That makes me happy.
Well, would you be willing to consider that all of those experiences that you had were your teachers that got you here?
Exactly. Dara
Well,
would say.
well, what's true about that is that it allows me to help other people who are in the same kind of inexplicable mess. And
Which is
I
most of
think
us.
I haven't seen too many people on these truth unity groups that are feeling they're in
Oh,
too much of a mess.
the us I'm referring to is the human race.
Oh, the human race, dear God, yeah, of course. But that's why you have to, when we read the first part about church, and I thought, this is why you have to find your posse. You have to find people that don't come under the flag of a denomination, but they're like-minded souls that you can see every week. I'd go to church on Sundays or Saturdays if I was going to meet up with all of you and more of you, that you could have interesting, helpful conversations or talk about life or talk about anything, but not get a stupid answer or a stupid platitude. A lot of these places are run on platitudes that they've dreamed up, and it's not helpful. But I do believe now I operate from a base. It only took me till I was 75, but I operate from a base where I can explain it to somebody else and say, don't waste time, don't waste your life, don't get drunk, because this can be lifted. So that if that's what my life has been worth, then that is something real. And it always is changing. What I believe is, I tell people, I'll tell you what I believe today, but I can't tell you I'll tell you the same thing in a month. And people think that's crazy, but I don't. And people that I've learned to know in these groups, they get that we're evolving all the time, and it's enough.
Well said. Thank you. Let's push on and see if we can finish 14 and 15 today. Who would read number? Because I think again that everything we're talking about, each of these two paragraphs will have something to add. Who will read number 14?
Well,
Okay.
the statement made before with greater force when it is taken in connection with this declaration. There can
No, I can't hear you. What's going on? Very weird.
I'm sorry. There can be no true union in personality alone. And that really bears.
Diane, can't hear you.
That's the, oh,
Now
can
I
you hear
can,
me?
now I can hear you.
Now, yeah.
Okay, well, it must be the microphone because, gosh, I don't think I'm 6 inches from this little.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice to see your face, Di.
Here I am. Let me
Right.
start again here. The statement made before that all unity is in spirit comes with greater force when it is taken in connection with this declaration. There can be no true union in personality alone. When we find our true unity in spirit, then every avenue of man's life can be unified. We who seek the real unity, understanding that it is found primarily in spirit, should stand ready to give up all limited and negative personal desires and opinions. These interfere with our interest in entrance into the consciousness of divine unity, which should operate on every level of man's experience. The one real unity is the body of Christ, his church, the God consciousness, which is spiritual unity with all good. For the privilege of entering into it, we should put aside every thought, feeling, word, and act below the Christ standard. I think that's all I can read.
Okay, thank you. And who will read 15?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
In contrast to the limited personal expression of life, there is the universal, the Christ expression. When Jesus talked about forsaking all for him, he meant simply that everything that was unlike the Christ, that was not godlike in thought, word, or deed, should be given up for the universal spirit of all good, the Christ. This is not a sacrifice, but a privilege that is valued the more as it is accepted.
Thanks, Lillian and Diane. Thoughts? Reactions?
So, somebody talk about there can be no true union.
Huh.
That one got me.
Can't hear you.
I would like to hear some comments on the statement there can be no true union in personality alone.
What does that mean to Leo?
For me, personality means a mask. And within me, there are many personalities. And while I go through the day, I shift through these personalities. So if I am in one specific personality, that is not all of me. So no true union can be in one specific personality. And I like to refer to one of my favorite subjects, and that is Isis. Isis in the old Egyptian is looking for reunion with Osiris. And Osiris is those parts of us that we have disregarded. They are lost. And Isis, with the help of a helper in the underworld, goes on a quest to reunite them. And once totally reunited, the Horus is being born. And Horus is what we in unity call the Christ. That means every night you can go on a quest and find those hidden personalities that we disavowed, but they are working anyway through our subconscious mind. So the more we own our own personalities, the more we will come into union. My take on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Anybody else? Claudia, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can you remember, or can you make a contribution with respect to how Emily Cady uses the word personality versus individuality, I think it is, in Lessons in Truth?
Yeah, Emily Cady talks about your personality as being that, well, I said ego earlier, but that how you show up in your life today. Individuality, she says, is the spark of God or Christ within you. So we're, we have both within us. The individuality is that part of God within us, the Christ self, and the personality is how we show up today as Claudia or Della or Lillian. And I think, I was thinking about what Leo was saying and his masks. That's true. It's how we manifest ourselves, what people think of as Claudia, and as Dorothy would say, little d Dorothy and big D Dorothy. The ego Dorothy being big D, and little d Dorothy being that part of the Christ.
Thank you. And so from what I infer from what you said in my reading of Emily Cady is that the personality considers itself separate. And this is different. This is separate from unity. So unity is in the individuality in the sense that the individuality or the I is the eye of the burning bush. I am that I am, I, the divine. So each of us is each of us as individual or separate personalities that's just an illusion by which we maneuver through the world of dimension, time and space. But the ultimate truth is unity. All unity is in spirit, as it says here at the beginning of number 13. That's sort of the fundamental reality that metaphysical Christianity works on.
I always liked what Eric Butterworth said, that God is not in you like a raisin is in a bagel.
Say that again.
God is not in you like a raisin is in a bagel. Meaning every part of you is God, God is the bagel. God is not in you like a raisin in a bagel.
It is not a separate, it's not a separate item.
Right, exactly. For some reason that stuck with me. And his other classic that I think everybody quotes is, God is the ocean and you are the wave. You're the individualized component of the ocean coming into shore as the wave, and every wave is different. But you're not the whole ocean, but you are a part of the ocean.
Yes, because the wave and the ocean are all water, are all spirit.
Are all one. Yes.
Yeah. And that's what they're getting at here in this sentence. In contrast to the limited personal expression of life, there is the universal, the Christ expression.
It's just that we think we're individualized. We think we're all there is. But in essence, we're not. We think we're alone.
But
And that,
yeah, okay, go ahead, Marty.
oh, just real quickly, that's a habit of mind that is rooted in childhood experience and the race consciousness within which we're all acculturated. And it requires the work that we do here in order to rise above those dynamics. Leo, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to add that what we are doing while we are in personality is not wrong.
Right.
What we are doing there is we are focusing on one aspect. And because we forget the rest of us, we are in a, how do you say that, full dimensional experience, multi-dimensional experience. And once we come through this experience, we can step back and we say, the me experienced that. Does that make sense?
Yep. Any other thoughts on what is the basis of real unity and why?
Yeah, well, I come back to the Egyptian part because I don't find it explained well in the Christian lectures. And it is really getting whole again.
Sure.
Everything is in me. You all are in me. Because if you were not in me, I couldn't experience you. So if I have bad feelings towards you, if I, how you say that, push you away, that means I do not accept the fullness of I.
And there we are back at that Emily Cady distinction between personality and individuality.
These last months have brought me a lot, guys. It is just amazing what these meetings together, these communions, is deepening, really deepening my life experience. And with that, I really mean out there meeting people. Amazing. Just amazing. So thank you.
Thank you, Leo. This is my ideal of actual church. Not the old lecture format which I have participated in, but rather the dialogue format.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Communion,
correct.
Marty, can I ask about the last sentence of number 14?
Sure.
For the privilege of entering into it, we should put aside every thought, feeling, word, and act below the Christ standard. What does that mean, below the Christ standard?
What does it mean to you?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. I would think that we would act the Christ standard, not below.
Maybe it means under, like under the Christ standard.
Within like within the Christ standard.
Oh, I can give you an example. For me, in my today, my neighbor has free-ranging chickens, and when it has been raining, they come to my garden. And I used to really chase them away, and I'm still moving them away, but I'm moving them away with a smile. And it's amazing. It just looks like the chicken have an understanding of what I'm doing. they say something like diddly diddly that. We did it anyway. Bye bye. We go. It's just funny. Before I was annoyed, but now it's like, oh, this is a game. It's okay. Funny, lovely.
So you're in the umbrella of the Christ standard. I guess that's what below can mean.
Well, I think that it's all a question of consciousness. So, on the one hand, there's only the Christ standard. There's no such thing as above or below the Christ standard. On the other hand, our consciousness can pretend that we're not part of the Christ standard. And then we're stuck in it's more as if goes for me always back to the golden key. It's as if the condition is absolute rather than God. The golden key is take your eye off the condition and put it on God. So below the Christ standard is simply my consciousness is unaware of the universality of spirit and the unity of spirit. In the moment in which I'm having a crisis, I'm having a chicken invasion, whatever it is.
Leo, I think you should just believe that the chickens love the worms better in your garden than your neighbors.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. But I just planted some new stuff, and the chicken don't make a distinction.
Eating
Well,
your seeds.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of our time together. I want to alert everybody that next Sunday, after this meeting, I will be speaking again at Unity of Davis online, and I invite everybody to join. The topic is the Zen of the Fillmores.
Mm, lovely.
Oh, that does sound good.
So if you don't have other things to do at 10 o'clock Pacific time next Sunday, come on over to Unity of Davis. And
Marty, is it
yes,
handy for you to send a link next week?
I will find it and send it. Sure.
Thank you.
I'll send it in the invite that I normally, or the reminder that I normally send out.
Nice.
Okay, so thanks everybody. Always good to be with you. Good to be back with this family of mine. And let's close with the prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God
Unfolds
holds
us.
us.
The
The
Power of God
protects us.
us.
The
The
presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
God bless.
Nice to see you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Marty. Nice to have you back.
Thank you. Nice to be
Bye,
back.
everyone.
Can I just go here and exit?
If you want to. Yeah.